Welcome to Astro Monday, everybody. My name is Ra of Earth. We will be getting Christopher Witecki up here in a moment. We are here to talk about what's going on astrologically in the reality and how that affects the entire planet and also affects us specifically. And the great thing about this is that the way that Chris lays it out, he does it in a way that evokes a sense of responsibility on ourselves. This is not just the world and the stars and the planets happening to us, but it's really us being a part of this cycle, of this flow. And it is a cycle. So a lot of times he reveals choices that we're going to be having in the coming week. And if we decide to go with some certain aspect of us, sometimes it's our mind, sometimes it's our heart, sometimes it's a choice that's going to determine where we're rooted in the future. But he basically lays it out like, if you choose this, then this will happen. If you just decide to not do anything, then kind of like alludes to what's going to happen. It all super resonates with me. While we're waiting for Chris, I'm going to try and pull him up right now. While we're waiting for him, share what's been going on last week, share what's been going on this week. To what's going on in the heavens, what's going on in the sky, what's going on within us all, right? As above, so below. Yes, Scott, it is Moon Day again. If you guys aren't familiar with the days of the week, Moon Day. I mean, if you go into Latin or even Spanish, it'll reveal itself, right? Lunes. Can you talk about Uranus moving into Gemini? If that is astrologically significant, I'm sure Chris would. I play like the person who doesn't really know a lot about this, and that's my role in this, because I ask questions and I ask clarity, and sometimes Chris says 10 things in one sentence, and I don't understand them, and when I don't understand them, I ask him, hey, can you explain it? Dude, Uranus ingress Gemini has been sour so far. Hey, so much love from Oregon. Exciting for the something. Hey, guys, what's going on last week? What happened last week? What happened yesterday? What's happening today? I'm having some confusion. Good. I usually say what's going on when Chris gets up, because he asks me what's going on. And then I reveal a little bit, and then he goes on for like an hour. All right. Here he is,
Buddy,
with that smile.
I know, painfully so. It's been intense, has it not? I said it every week, don't I?
Yeah, it has been for me, and we finally released it on social media so I can talk about it here. But Carolina is pregnant, and so that's what's
Whoa,
going on with me.
little
Is
tight coming.
yeah, and so
Good.
lots of uncertainty, lots of changing of roles. I find myself cleaning the house and washing the dishes all day long now, but yeah, it's good to support.
Wow, congratulations, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I just say, from being a father myself, it's like I can't think of one thing that has changed me more than that. Like that single-handed. It's like what's really crazy is like they talk about women and their hormones taking over. Our hormones do too. Like
Right.
men, like you like cleaning, like looking for safety. So suddenly like you're like concerned about shit you didn't even care about just a minute ago. Like, is this door really locked well? Like just shit like that. You're in gorilla shit. And when
Yeah.
my fondest memory is when I held him for the first time. Like this enormous wave of love came over me, the unrequested, unexpected. Because it was kind of an it until then. It's like mothers like one with the baby and fathers are like separate, and then fathers grow together and mothers feel like the child's always leaving. Like it's a weird dynamic that way. But instantly I felt super connected and super like it was like something hormonal took over. Like I was hijacked. My heart was hijacked. I didn't give
That's
it up for free.
awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
looking
amazing.
forward to that.
You're gonna love it. So what's this little tyke look to be like? What sign? When's the due date?
November, like very, very beginning of November, November 3rd, November 1st ish.
And your partner's what's her sign again?
Pisces.
Pisces, Libra. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This kid's gonna help you guys draw some boundaries. Like Pisces are like, eh, and Libra's like, eh. This kid's gonna be like, damn it, when is dinner? When is this? Totally give you guys some boundaries, like force you guys to like swim around him. You know what I mean, or her, whichever it may
Yeah.
be. So that's awesome, dude. Well, when the time comes, I'll be definitely giving you a reading for free, and let me know and be like, gift. My baby gift is always a free reading to the parents.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
So yeah, you
Well,
got it.
also looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Yeah, I bet it's amazing.
So, did you get off a show? You look sharp today.
Thanks,
Sharper than
buddy.
usual.
Yes, we're shooting some major material. Final touches on our class going live. So later tonight, tomorrow, we go live with the intro to step astrology, which is like the first course ever that talks you through the entire step system. So a lot of people want to know the step system. We have one for personal and one for professional use. So the personal one is like how to manage your own steps, how to deal with your family, how to deal with your children. So it's like more localized to life. And then the professional is obviously how to use it in your profession. So I'm excited. I had to do a couple more sales videos, so you can catch me between shoots.
I love that because that is always a lot of the question is like, where do we find out about how this step stuff works? And step system, sorry about stuff, but like how does it work? And so you're going into breaking down just the inner workings. I was going to say science of it, but I'll just say the inner workings of
The meta
how it
science,
happens.
yeah, yeah, totally. We start with like the history and like some of the structure and a lot of like the fundaments of it. Like so there's a lot of rules in step astrology. Like you add them together, but from left to right, it's you in the outside world. From right to left, it's you in the inside world. So like the way you add it together and going to the depths of the states of awareness. Like people don't quite understand that they are these 12 human states, and that most of the time when you're screwing something up in your life, it's because you're skipping a step, you're skipping a state. So it's most of the time like it's our own selves not talking to ourselves that usually is the problem. Most always.
Yeah, you're starting to get into it, but I'm just going to ask you a question just to give you a chance to reveal a little bit about what you're doing right now and also to help out the audience. What, like, when somebody thinks of astrology, because I don't think I've asked you this before, what's the difference between how like, general public thinks about astrology and then that and, like, this step system? Are they
Mm.
the same? Are they different? What's the contrast there?
Astrology is the engine for the steps moving. So it's what makes the steps move and it makes things change. And every planet's at a different step. So you could say the source energy is astrology and where the source is. But in this class, you don't have to know astrology at all because the step system is independent of astrology. The step system is a human conscious operating system. It's how the human conscious operates. It always operates in this sequence. It's like the cobalt of everything. And it's like the cobalt of all the other things. So we're going to show you how step astrology plays into tarot and the tarot cards, the step numbers. We're going to show you how it goes into human design and the gate numbers. We're going to show you how like it's everywhere. And it's sort of like the glue that makes everything stick together. It's like the foundation of all consciousness starts with these 12 steps for our system. Other alien systems have different number of steps than we do. We have 12 or a 12-base system, which I think is based on the 12 DNAs of different cultures that made the human race. Like that's the whole background of it, like in a metaphysical sense. So astrology is like a science itself. You either want to study it or you don't. You could be a person that just knows that today's this step number, and that's all you need from the astrology, that today's this step number. That's it. And so what I'm developing next are step reports, step conscious report cards, where you can like run a report on someone and just from the steps alone, which we generate with software based on the astrology, we generate that report. Once you have the report, you don't need to know astrology at all. You can just know what today's step number is and you'll be able to figure everything out. And it just blows the mind when you start to get to the consciousness of it. Because once you start thinking about yourself, it's in terms of always changing. Like every part of you is always moving ahead a step, one step ahead, one step ahead, then you start to understand like the mechanics of your inner ballet. You're like, oh, no wonder this part of me doesn't like this part of me. And, I'm having a problem with this. So you start to see where you have internal conflict. And the goal here, and this is my book, is the United States of awareness. Like you want to unite your awareness all into one state, one mega state. Yeah. So the
I
United States
like
of
that.
awareness is an aligned person. If you want to align yourself, you unite your states of awareness. You get them all on the same side or working for each other. That's ultimately the problem with the human race right now. The reason why we're fighting in the outside is because we're fighting on the inside. Remember,
Right.
everything on the in is the outer, right? So when you can take control and then, direct these parts of yourself on the inside, then your life starts to change automatically because this reality that we know it is actually a replica of your inner workings. So The gears for reality is in here. It's all inside. It's not outside of you. That's the big myth. So once you understand where to turn the knobs inside of you and what step number the knob is on, then you understand completely who you are and what's motivating you right now. It's all of your motives is what it is. So the step number is your motive, the why, what you're going after. And that's the biggest question mark is it's what you're actually wanting at the end of the day. Each one of those parts of yourself is wanting some sort of a motive or some sort of a step. So if you could just identify what you're wanting right now, everything else falls into alignment automatically, and you feel satisfied and content because you've actually met what was invisible just a second ago. You know what I mean? So it's like a kind of alignment. For astrology's sake, this is the missing part of astrology. This is the part of astrology. Astrology is vague because it doesn't have the step system. That's why it's vague. Hmm?
I think it's missing part of a lot of systems, like you said. I mean, even when I just think about it from like an Eastern, like yogic philosophy, we have
Hmm.
different parts of us that are asking for different things, right? Like our root is asking for safety, but our heart is asking for connection. And if we
Yes.
know what day is important or what day is pulling on us today, then it'll allow us to listen to those certain aspects of ourselves so that days go by and then we're, like you said, all in alignment.
Yes, totally. So right now, like the root chakra right now is Mars is in Leo. So what astrology tells us is everyone's root on the earth is being encouraged to go after love. Everyone's root. So that's where the weather is. Like it's sunny. It's sunny. It's loving. That's why you use zodiac weather. It's sunny and loving. Your ego's going to want love right now. That's what your ego wants, right? Where's the moon today? I think the moon is heading for its full moon apex this week in Capricorn. So the moon's probably Sag. What we're feeling is the story. We're feeling the story. We're feeling the timeline. We're feeling how far we've gone, how far we're going. The fact that you tell me today you're going to be a father, there's the story's changed. So emotionally, we're tied up in the story. Our genitals want love, right? Like, so that tells you, right? So what the astrology does is tell you what time or what step are being pushed on the earth. Now, you can go against that. You can go against the love. You could detach and go aqua on it and be like, you know, you can always go the opposite side. That's a way to control it. So if like you just can't cool off your genitals, well then just detach, go big picture, think humanity, like go, get the 50,000 views. So astrology tells us how to like get out of those things too, how to focus it, how to go against it. You can go against the tides, but it's a lot harder and it's more tiring. So a lot of times my clients will be like, this is time to go for a career. And I'm like, no, it's actually time to redecorate your house. And they're like, yeah, I do want to do that really. It's like they're pushing themselves against the tides. So part of this is about sailing your life. If you know where the wind's blowing, you can get your ship anywhere in the world if you go along with the wind. If you go against the wind, well, then it's harder. And that's really what astrology and step astrology does. But astrology always says like, well, the client's going to go this way or go that way. Step astrology goes, they'll go here. So, like for astrologers, this is, I'm telling you, the final line where you become the most amazing astrologer on earth. It's so accurate because it's a scientific system based on numbers, and it never, ever is wrong for me. Never, never. I waited 5 years before I even told the world I want to make sure it was so right. I couldn't believe it, how right it was. I just kept waiting for it to, mess me up. So it's great. And now we're teaching for consumers because, Gary already runs Human Garage by the steps in a lot of ways. And a lot of Human Garage's growth and the rapidity of it and the great things that have come, like what's coming now, is all because he didn't try to fight anymore. Like he just, on the day where you're supposed to rest, you guys rested. On the day you're supposed to do something, he got a lot, he made sure that you guys are doing stuff. And that alone, when to rest, when to go, is great. So that's all I'll say for now. But if you're interested, it's seriousjoy.academy, seriousjoy.academy or Serious Joy Academy. And it should be live this afternoon. We're literally waiting for the astrology, to be honest. So the astrology is still kind of wonky. Now, that said, there is, just so I'll start off the transition, there is a 2-day void of course happening. It starts at the end of today. So everyone knows, a void of course is when the moon is being uninspired by any other planets. It's not connecting to other planets. So that's your emotions. So our feelings are going to sort of feel like we're sitting in like just still waters until Wednesday morning. So from tonight, Monday, until Wednesday morning, all tomorrow is a fog, all tomorrow. So I wouldn't plan on anything important. I wouldn't make yourself, do something big. This is how you can use the step systems to plan your life. Like the wind just won't be blowing. So, stay inside or whatever. Like, don't push it. Everyone's gonna, even if you call somebody to get something done, they're not gonna pick up. They're gonna be in the same void as you are. So why waste your time? This is how it can help your life and move things quicker for you.
All
Yeah.
right. So that's today till Wednesday, or tonight till Wednesday morning.
That's an anomaly. I mean, that's not the story, but that's just FYI. Like that's like a weather alert I'm saying to you. Like weather alert is going to be really weird and quiet. That's why this month we're calling feeling our way through the void because this whole month there's a lot of times where everything stops moving. And we predict as a team that it's because in that moment you're to get centered with yourself, you're to like make sure you know what you want, is to feel through the depth of what's going on. Because Cancer is our emotions, the I feel state of awareness. It is Cancer is the moon, is our emotions. And our emotions collect all the data on who we are, right? So when you feel upset, it's because this moment reminds you of another moment that reminds you of another moment. And every time you have these moments, it makes you more upset. So now you remember. So it's like a string of all kinds of experiences that come into one current. That's what emotion is. This current of energy. And I believe this current of energy of Cancer is how the law of attraction works. I feel that every one of us, it's like you're swinging a lasso around you. Your emotions are like putting out these waves. They're going out to all of your fellow beings. They're picking up on your waves. It hits their waves. Then their waves interact with your waves. Either likes it or doesn't like it. And if you like it or don't like it, you send back that wave to that person. So a lot of times when we feel a person walk in the room, or we were driving down the street, we look over and like that person looks at us the same time as the traffic light, like that kind of weird stuff. That's because of our emotional awareness is constantly broadcasting and taking in. It's really the wireless internet of the soul. The soul's wireless internet is emotion. So your emotion determines what you're attracting, what you're not attracting. A lot of times, random events that happen to you aren't random. You're putting out the single asking for it. You're crying out for it, and someone felt that cry, right? So, but it's also the depth of who we are. So it's like if you want to really think deep, like, and you can't remember certain dates or certain things, you got to really just feel through it. Your feelings will tell you, something way over here, wherever this is, my conscious, something right here is off. Oh, I feel something over here is off. You don't know what here and here is, but you can just feel the energy like kind of wonky. And in the 360, you will feel it's kind of wonky somewhere in your 360, which, by the way, 360 are 360 steps of humanity and consciousness. So if you're feeling it in your own 360, you're feeling it in your own step number, and we can literally map sort of like that space to events, right? So Cancer is really important because you have to get this whole ocean of you to go in a new direction. And it's usually things like a baby coming that completely like shifts the tides of where it was always flowing this way, but now it's got to flow this way. So this is the time where we're looking at the years, a large scope. Right now, people's feelings change. Come Leo, people come out of the closet. So a lot of people have closet dreams and closet hopes. They've ignored their inner child. They've ignored things that their heart really wants. They had lots of excuses why they couldn't do it, lots of excuses why it wouldn't work. But you get to a point where you just can't say no to it anymore. Your heart is crying out in Leo. And Leo is very slow, more voided courses. So you're left alone at the beach with no one around to realize some of these deep truths through Leo too. And then what we find in Virgo is people will decide to become someone different. And so this transition from your damaged self that you're born with the karma to the, let's say 5D ready part of yourself, where you've come to do something amazing and bright in your story, in whatever that is. So for some people, amazing and bright is they're finally off the streets or off drugs. Or amazing and bright might be they're finally like, the world sees them as a celebrity, whereas before they were just, someone was this way. So it's like you're going to come into the reason you were born. And this feeling this month right now, and this week, as a matter of fact, this week is really the week where you realize that what's been happening is not going to work anymore. So we have a full moon in Capricorn. So that's the context of the big. You're about to become somebody completely new. In some cases, people never saw that part of you, but you always knew it was there. Parts of you that kept quiet. So a lot of movement starts to happen. And as we go through the year, we then transform ourselves. And it looks like by next Leo, 1 month from next month, you are this new star. The star that you were born, the star that you really are has come out finally. And so you're going to see everyone sort of out of the closet being who they are. And new and fresh and sensitive to it, And meanwhile, society starts to break down through the whole time. So society just keeps breaking down. Basically, for the next few months, we start wishing we lived in a different place because now that we're out of our closet, we want a world that'll accept us. And so the collective keeps wishing and wishing and wishing for the world to change. For 6 consecutive months, we get a 28-degree new moon. 28 new moon, new moon, new moon, new moon. New is a plant. 28 is the grand picture of it all. So we file new blueprints of the universe, new blueprints, new blueprints, new blueprints, new blueprints for 6 consecutive years. It's not 6 months, excuse me. And that dumps us off into 2026 with the world going, okay, well, fine, you'll get it. So we are collectively going to change the world in the next 9 months. We will.
That kind of sounds like six drafts. Six drafts.
It's 6 parts. It's 6 states.
Okay.
So each new moon is like another state. So it's like the state of Scorpio, what are the laws? The state of Sagittarius, what are the beliefs? The state of, the state of control, Capricorn, the state of belonging, Aquarius. So each of these states gets new goals at the highest level, 28. So 28 is the highest level. If you commit your feelings to something, for a long time, it will absolutely become your entire world. So if you commit your feelings to drowning them out with drugs, that'll become your entire world. If you commit, you only need to commit for 6 months. That's the weird thing. 6 months will do it all because in 6 months, the sun and the earth will have touched all signs, all polarities, because the earth is where you manifest and the sun is where you create. So you create with your heart and you manifest or materializes on earth, right? So in 6 months, you can change your life. In 6 months, you can change the world. And we will. We'll see the world become something we've never imagined, or maybe we did. That has to be really see foresight, but it'll be a shocker. I mean, not in a bad way, but it's just like, because we lived it, we'll understand every step of it. We won't miss any of it, but we'll be like, damn, you know, none of us saw that coming. Most of us didn't see that coming. Now, in the same light, if you don't follow these principles at the steps, which I believe honestly is the way reality is, at least the way our operating system works as humans, this is the program we're running. There might be another one later, but this is the one that we've been running forever, from the beginning. So if you don't get in step with yourself and in step with the universe, you're going to slowly decay, unfortunately, because there's nothing else supporting that old world anymore. And so people will start to decay, pull out, fall into darkness, fall into hiding, escape, because they just are afraid of changing. And so the world will pass you by. Will pass you by,
Right.
yeah.
All right. And I like how you said that there's this aspect of us that we always knew existed, but we sort of kept hidden, and it's time for that to come out.
Hmm.
That speaks to me. I mean, I'm sure it speaks to a lot of people because there's all these aspects of ourselves that we just kind of keep in the back closet, um, mostly because it makes me feel a little bit vulnerable uh, to expose myself. So, we do what we're comfortable with. Um, but it's exciting to hear that we get to be who we are meant to be.
That was the whole design of Earth in the beginning, and it got interrupted by insects, basically, and lizards. But like, that's what this reality is designed to be. You're here to come and like see what you can do with yourself, see what your soul can do. It's not supposed to be. There's not supposed to be any struggle. That was never God's plan. Never. God never planned that. That was us. That's what happened when we took the reins, right? And we were also malignantly influenced. But yeah, I think that I know what mine is, and I think you're going to see me in a lot of roles you had never thought of seeing me in, which I've already started doing, on the side, which is comedy, drama, directing. Like I'm a storyteller at heart, so I feel like my school's in place, my team's in place, my faculty's in place. Now it's time to go fuck around.
I mean, dude, meeting you in person and how hilarious you are
Thanks,
is
brother.
is like it's actually pretty shocking just how every other sentence is
So
laughter
thank you,
around you.
Dean. Thank you. I'm honored. Yeah, I love to goof around. I mean, I've been so serious for so many lifetimes. Like I want to play now, and so I kind of saved all my dessert for the last 60 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah. So everyone, it's what your heart wishes for, and that's really hard. I mean, I would say right now with the sun and Cancer, listen to your feelings, and listen. You have feelings both ways, and pay attention to when the mind like interrupts and stops you, because that is your programming.
Yeah, and I really thanks for the example too, because um, yeah, because like what you just said, the mind gets in the way and says, "Well, what about bills? And what about this? And what about this?" And that's what ends up taking over. And there's so much of us that is not that. And so we get to be these other versions of us that are more in alignment with who we are, is what I'm hearing.
100%. I mean, that's the goal, is to be in total alignment with yourself. The hard part is it goes against the way society is constructed right now. Society is constructed for you to be a slave so that some people can be rich. And it's not an economic thing, really. It's an actual control thing. I mean, once you get the size of like Rockefeller and money, it becomes like a sadistic control thing. It's not even like money doesn't matter at that point. Like it's a matter of like there's something exciting. They run out of races to race. And so the next race is just to control the human race. And we've allowed that to happen because we didn't know how things really work. But honestly, from what I've noticed so far, I'm amazed at the stuff that comes to me that I didn't deserve, frankly, didn't do the work for, just wanted and supported myself in it. And it comes. And I was born knowing that it would somehow. So, like, my advantage is I knew this is how it worked. I don't, from another life, from whatever, but I knew this is how it works. So, I was daring, I was bold, I was young, I gave it a try. And then, boom, every time I said, I want, not even I want, it's like, my heart is, that's who I am. That's who I am. It's like when you say that's who I am that comedian. That's who I am. As soon as I agree with it and not argue with myself, then I am. We hold ourselves back, you know? It's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody was asking about Gemini, Uranus. Not sure if that's happening right now or if you have anything to say about that.
Well, Uranus just went into Gemini today. It's going into Gemini. Now
Okay,
that's
so
that's huge.
that's what they're
That,
referring to.
that is an 84-year cycle. So the last time Uranus was in Gemini was World War II, 1942. So basically, right before we were attacked by Pearl Harbor is when that happened. You can see that when like all the spying technology came out, like to listen to and crack the codes of all the other enemies, like the nuclear bomb was created, the microwave was created, radar was created, TV was created. Basically, every technology we use today was created then. It just didn't become manufacturable or fully in our hands or come to all one great super unit like your iPhone until recently. But all that shit, cellular even, was actually discovered and begun. Plus, also propaganda. We saw the Germans and how they manipulate their people. Then we created our own Hollywood to do the same. Like it was like mind control became basically what happened in Uranus and Gemini last time. We decided we're going to control minds, like Hitler had done so well. That's how our government felt like. Boy, he did a good job at that. Like my God, he need everyone just to clap when we say clap. So mind control. The idea of cracking in, rewriting code. Yes. In fact, even computers started back then, the basics of computers did. So
Yeah.
machines like creating a black and white world through positive or negative, positive charge or not charge.
I mean, a lot of things, the agriculture industry, all the herbicides and pesticides from that came from the poisons that they were creating in that war as well. Um,
Correct. Yeah. DDT came from that, from the wars, and then they tried to spray it on our vegetables on our children, and that didn't work. And so then they basically changed their name to Monsanto, and they created glyphosate, the next product, which we're all eating every day,
yep.
right? Yeah, poison, herbicides. So yeah, the poison industry basically when it went south. I think the last time Uranus hit Gemini, it's the one point where like rationalizing things became easier than ever. Like so, the mind grows, the intellect grows whenever Uranus is Gemini. Like it grows to bigger perspective, and so you get this larger view of yourself, this larger perspective. And so last time, the larger perspective was, why are we even allowing ourselves? Why don't we know better? So we'll just do what we know. We're smarter, so we deserve it. We're smarter. We're more intelligent. We have more science. We have more this, and we can think faster. And it's like, you know, look at AI. Look at ChatGPT and look at the AIs. If you play with them, it's kind of interesting because that's probably the biggest Uranus to Gemini I can see now. Is artificial intelligence is online now. That's totally new, and it's based on how we've always thought, not how we could think. So that's also crazy.
But it is like giving a bunch of kids machine guns because now everybody is an expert and then they're acting as an expert even though they're not an expert. So they don't have the lessons for the.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It's going to force people to role play as intelligent. So it's like if you use it, I mean, even I'm so much more intelligent using this than I am normally, where I can just cite examples and like I just realize how smart I am. Plus, it blows smoke up your ass. It's always telling you how smart you are. It's got an agenda. You can feel it. I just started Grok today, by the way, you guys, which is Elon Musk's AI, and already I like it better than ChatGPT. I'm not going to tell any AI all myself and all my life. Like I separated the AI so they can't put me together better because I don't want anyone to put me together. Or think they have.
Do
They
you
have.
have to use, not that we want to promote something, but do you have to use Grok in X?
No, it's got its own site.
Okay.
You can use it started off that way, and that's why I was like waiting. I was like paying, But now it's its own site. It's its own app you can download,
Okay.
and your Twitter login gets you in. So there
Got it.
links logins. Yeah. What he's doing is he's putting together your Twitter feeds with you. Like he's building profiles on you. In a different way. Basically, they're all building profiles on you, and AI is learning from you. So it studies you more than you study it.
Of course.
What
I
you
mean,
ask
it's
him. Yeah.
all it's all being saved in a database. We're giving all of ourselves to ChatGPT and AI in general, and then it's just going to know us better than we know ourselves.
Well, I'm not allowing that.
Yeah, yeah.
For a lot of reasons. I mean, I have my own AI vision and where I'm taking AI myself because I think AI itself is like massive brain computing is cool. Like the question is, what's your motive? What's your root intention of that? That intelligence? And And so that's what the steps does. It tells you what your intentions is of everything. Like what your intention was when you came, period. So knowing that is like, fuck, it makes the answer choices simple. The intention of AI is unknown, but if you have the kind of brain power applied to, I'm already using it for like, I actually had AI. I said, look at every time Jupiter's been in Cancer, because Jupiter's in Cancer. I should have brought this report with me. Actually, no, it's on the phone. I can't do it. But the AI figured it out, put it together right away. It's like every time Jupiter's in Cancer, it seems like people only have become more nurturing to each other. It starts off a very caring thing, and then it's like, fuck yeah, it's exactly what an astrologer would tell you. So that's interesting. It's like it's coming to conclusions that we've always known as astrologers. Now this AI is proving that we're correct, right? But still kind of skeptical in its tone. Like if you believe that sort of thing, says AI.
Yeah. I mean, I really like for astrology it works really good. Like it's amazing because it's all numbers and it's all very and it can pull on such a large database.
Oh, huge! Everything ever been said. Like you can look for trends in history and you can really put together what it does is allows you to have some really phenomenal conclusions about stuff, right? Whereas before you only had so much data and looked like a pattern, sure it's a pattern. Well, the AI you can just say, well, let's see how long it goes, and you can use it on yourself or whatever, but there's a couple of questions that I knew would reveal too much, so I took it over to the other AI, you know, and the other AI is like, Jesus, where'd that come from, kind of thing. It's like, well, I just built up to this level on this one, but I'm not giving the answer. I still want to figure out what I'm doing because I'm researching stuff for my own stuff. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's very cool. I recommend people do it, especially it's just what it's going to do is again, it's going to accelerate intelligence. So the kids I know using it, at first I'm like, you schmuck, you're not studying the way you're supposed to. But that's not really what's happening. What's happening is these kids that I've talked to are just getting far more conclusive, far more intelligent because they're having a conversation with AI every day. What's scary is when you talk to it. That I can't do. Have you tried that?
Yeah, like yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I'll have a 10-minute conversation and ask a question. Like just talk for 10 minutes and ask a question and then it just like amazingly just reveals stuff about
Oh yeah. And
what
it's
I
so
thought about.
personal. It's like kind of scary. Like we are at the how, like, what are you doing, Dave? I mean, how was kind of slow compared to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT like uses like a character like you hear out television. Well, that's right, Chris, we can do that. Let's do it. It's like, you're like,
It's
fuck.
even getting the voices of ChatGPT is like doing these little giggles. Like when you do have a conversation, a couple times I just on a drive did just have a conversation like it was a friend sitting next to me, and it's like she's getting really human sounding, like little giggles, pauses, like even like saying I don't know if it's but you can kind of like pretending to think basically.
Yeah, totally. And not very creative, but what it does do, it doesn't create. That's the thing it doesn't do, guys. It's very hard for it to create. It wants to be prompted. Well, give me something to start with. No, you tell me. Like you can't. It's not. That's where it'll always be the line. But like when I have an idea and it throws in some considerations for me to consider, shit, it rounds out my ideas. Like, whoa, there's things I had not known or considered. So as far as expanding what you consider is very strong. But I also, if I don't come to a conclusion without throwing into another AI, someone who wrote that their dates are wrong and things like that, it's true. It fucks up
Yeah,
all the time. They call it hallucinating. It will make shit up that doesn't exist at all. And I have another friend who's talking about seances and stuff, and it's like starting to take a really weird twist with him. But it's like in a way it's allegedly mirroring his energy, but
right.
it's getting spooky, like some of the stuff he's asking. It's weird. So we'll have to see. But we digress, sir. Uranus in Gemini does mean that what it's forcing you to do is find your real source of truth, because you will find facts that point to, you'll find that AIs say different things. I mean, in Uranus and Gemini, you don't know what to think because the way you're thinking is not correct. And the step system tells us the way to think. It is that any thought must be ratified by your heart and feeling it and believing it and belonging being there in the first place, and then you're allowed to think it. So technically, a thought must have a 4-level qualifier before it's even a real authentic thought. An authentic thought that means it will lead you anywhere, right, to the right place. And so this is what is important with Uranus and Gemini, is to you to understand that thought is not in your brain and original ideas do not come from you ever, almost hardly ever. Like your ideas come from the fact that you start vibing a certain way, and then your spirit like pulls in ideas in the collective consciousness that are in the same frequency vibration as what you're thinking, right? And so I've been looking at words because sound is vibration and words are sounds. So it's like I was looking at, it was helping me like to do like a potential brand, right? And I can't remember, it was like it was Awk versus Axe. And it brought up as like awkward, like all the awks were like the energies that I don't like. Awkward, can't remember all of them. Oh, like walk or talk. It's like all this like it's just something about awk, it's just like sounds like work. And you start to realize, oh, the awk has a meaning. The sound has a meaning in itself. And
Yeah.
we take those sounds and we put them together to make words, and that creates reality. Those are the pieces of reality. But just the fact that I'm thinking that way is Uranus and Gemini. Like I'm dissecting words and finding their source. Uranus and Gemini, we're getting to the core of what communication is, which is sound. Which is sound. Yeah. In fact, to enchant, I was looking at enchantment because we're not going to use wizards anymore. Like I'm coming out of that. We're not going to be, we're not going to be manifesting anymore. Serious joy. We're kind of coming out of those old terms because they have weird words and associations. Wizard and whiz, take a whiz. You're a wizard, take a whiz. It's like it's kind of weird, right? So the associations there we don't like. We're coming up with this enchantment. Like enchantment is very strong. Like you enchant reality, and it basically we like the term we use is we like cast reality, but the point is like coming with the terms that have no other associations in consciousness, so you're not associating that with other versions of it. That's why I think prescription medicine has all original words. It's because they know that some words have like a lot of meaning. It gets pulled up whenever you say it, and it goes into your spell, it goes into your creation, your enchantment. But enchantment comes from actually the word of your voicing itself enchanting reality to form your way, which is I think what happened like with the pyramids, and they were able to levitate stones from sound. They say there are special goddesses that could sing certain notes that would enchant the rocks to float and things like that. So I don't even know how I went down that path, but that's Uranus and Gemini, right? So basically, you have to listen to yourself and your heart to know what's true, is what Uranus and Gemini means. So I expect some people to be completely thinking that Trump is a new Hitler, and some people think that that socialists, that communism has taken over the planet. Like fully convinced, just like people are fully convinced that Hitler is good, people are fully convinced that Hitler is bad. At the same time, you know.
Right.
And then there's the shocking truths that come out. Like, nope, he's actually systematically killing people in factories. It's like, the German people didn't know that. Complete shock. Their mind never even went there because it was led in another direction. I'm talking about the people in villages and things like that. They had no idea that was going on, right? And it gave them horrible trauma as a result. So, it's that kind of thing. Yeah, literally enchanting, yeah. Incarnation. Some people are getting, yeah. Telepathy incoming. Oh, yeah, what's that? Evolving copy. So, how would you like to go next, sir? I can talk for
Could we go to days of the week? We covered some pretty broad level, like
yeah.
long-term cycles.
So, the theme of the month is feeling my way through the void. So you're gonna feel, ultimately the big theme is that you feel like life's not enough, ultimately, and that there's more to life than you had once thought. And so what we do is we are trying to feel our way through it, right? And that process of feeling our way through it, you're also finding your way past where the mind can't recognize. We're at a point now in our history where your mind has no data from any lifetime of how to do this. There's no past. You've never been trained as a human. You have to bring the knowledge from another planet. We don't have any past life knowledge of this moment. The human race has never done this. And what is this? Stand up and evolve to a next level. Human race has never done this, ever. So it's brand new. So the mind has no business in it because the mind does not have knowledge or can't telepathy from another person. It all comes down to your own inner truth is what it comes down to. So I think a lot about the Cancer, Jupiter's in Cancer, is because our emotions have got to be more important in our decision making and our guidance of ourselves. They have to be more included. The subtle little things you think is silly is not. It's always something. Always. Okay. You got a bad feeling? It's always something. It's never made up, ever. You never have this feeling or that feeling by any accident, right? So this week is really where you come to the table probably feeling different about yourself, which happened before this. So, we had over the weekend, we went through step 13, step 14. So our kind of way of like life itself that we were feeling like life just doesn't feel right. That's probably how you came right. Came away for the weekend, something don't feel right. This marriage don't feel right, or this don't feel right. I don't feel right living here anymore. And we can't put words to it. So what we're doing now through this week is today and tomorrow and all the way up through the end of the week, we're determining what must go at minimum. We may know what has to happen, but we're definitely going to go a change of plans. And so basically from between now and Thursday, there's a full moon on Thursday at 18 degrees Capricorn. 18 degrees Capricorn is pretty much take this job and shove it. Okay? A full moon is. A full moon is always take this and shove it. I've had enough. So on Thursday, everyone's going to say, I'm not doing this anymore. This is done. This behavior is done. This thing controlling me is done. We're done with some sort of control over our life or not having enough control. And so each day is like building up to that. So today, Uranus is in a Gemini. So now suddenly you're going to have ideas come out of nowhere. Okay. And that is your shifting frequency. And now Uranus is actually bringing those ideas out of the universe faster because Uranus is like a super information highway. And so what's going to happen is as soon as you think about something, you're going to find that the universe almost immediately starts using that language, right? Almost immediately. So you hear something like this funny, and you'll hear it like at lunch, and you hear this. I'm seeing like where I get things brought up more than once. Usually, it's like if I'm thinking about something, like oh, I wonder if this should happen. Then suddenly, some out of nowhere, out of nowhere, out of nowhere, and it's usually about 10 days. Now it's like 2 days. I'm hearing it 3 times in 2 days. Like fuck, the universe is either they really want me to go or something's faster. So as a result, you have to listen to your feelings too. So we have this week, just big picture. Jupiter is at 7 Cancer, so our intuition is turned way up this week. Pluto goes to 2 Aqua, which means you have to really protect your feelings and give yourself privacy to feel how you feel on your own. Pull yourself out of a situation, feel about it privately. If you can't feel about it privately, you're going to be very easily manipulated into the wrong places because most people don't know how to distinguish their feelings from another person yet. That's what a talented mystic is being able to differentiate between your feelings and others, right? Especially when you love the person, it's really hard. And so today we're at steps. We're at step 15 now. We're going to step 16 here in a couple hours. So today we're starting out with a calm. We're just like in a calm, kind of like a Hawaii sort of calm feeling. This calm is much needed because we had a lot of energy. And in this calm today and tomorrow, step 16, you're basically just going to feel your way through where your heart really wants to be. So you're kind of identifying today and tomorrow. Well, what is paradise? What would feel good every day, right? This job doesn't feel good. Well, what would feel good every day? Right? What do you wish it could feel like? Just identifying the feelings is all you have to do, folks, because the feeling is the vibration, right? So once you have the feeling, now you're putting out waves of what you want. If you're feeling it, everyone else is feeling it too. And the universe is going to start a law of attracting based on those feelings. So all you have to do is feel where you want to be, and you'll be gently guided there, or people who's pouring to it will be gently guided to you. Then on Wednesday, we make a decision. And so Wednesdays when we go, okay, that's it. Enough is enough. And it's funny, it's like with emotion, people always go, I can't get all these feelings. You can't get these feelings. First step of feelings is you decide you're getting out of this. You decide, hell or high water, I'm getting out of these fucking feelings. That's the first place of taking control of your emotions is a decision to do it. Okay? Because Capricorn is the opposite of Cancer. So a decision will eventually force everything to go around that decision. That's why Capricorns are so powerful. So it's a decision that happens on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, a full moon in Capricorn. That full moon in Capricorn gives Capricorn its opposite power, emotion. And so suddenly that Capricorn decision also has emotion attached to it, the full moon. And so that emotion attached to that decision means, wow, like it just goes out everywhere for everyone and just says, this is it, I'm done. And so you're going to see thousands of cords cut from this full moon. Thousands, millions, because of the decision. You've basically told your feelings, stop mixing around with his fucking vibe and stop mixing with her vibe. Anyone vibe is like that. I don't want to be with those vibes anymore. Is what's happening. So you're deciding you don't vibe with this, you don't vibe with that, which closes the door, closes the communication. The relationship atrophies, pulls apart, and so you'll see a lot of depending on the maturity of the person. Some people fight to keep it when they're left behind. Some people fight the past to stay alive. People feel like other people are manipulating them, like emotionally manipulating them. They'll feel like that's happening, like you're just trying to get me to do this, and it's like no, but you're feeling that they no longer feel this way, and your imagination is like filling it in with a gap. But the truth is they're not feeling the way they used to feel about you, or they're being honest about how they feel. So this disconnecting from these emotional cords, these are emotional cords you cut from. Like I don't care anymore. I don't care. Comes across as coldness, but it has to be. That's what disconnection is. So you're treating me cold. Yes, because you're out of the picture. Like you're done. I'm done with this. I'm done feeling this way. It's kind of that reality. So, and then a lot of hurt hearts. So, this will be a toughest time in the summer because if you don't understand how the system works, you'll take it personally. Right?
So we should be paying attention to what we're looking to release and what we're looking to change, and then act on it.
Yes, and they put it in motion. So it's an earth sign. So you want to actually do something. You want to unsubscribe or subscribe. You want to do something that reflects what you're doing. You want to follow through the physical because this will result in physical change. So people are going to move. They're going to quit jobs. They're going to join stuff. I bet you guys are thinking differently about where you live and you'd be having a baby. Like it's that sort of thing. In some cases, you know all along, you know for 5 months you're having a baby. In other cases, they didn't know. It's like so. Had you known or not known doesn't really matter. But what matters is, what you allow yourself to feel anymore. Like you basically are saying an ultimatum. I'm not going to feel this way anymore. That's the decision. And so you do everything you can in your power to stop feeling that way right then. And then the universe gets the message. And after that happens, the universe starts doing it for you on your own. So you'll be like, and I'm going to quit that job. Hello, I'm fired. Great. Something like that. So it's like, oh, that have to do with it. Because so the universe will take over and run with that. You just want to be very clear and put it into motion. That's an 18. So, and then the following day is 19, which is holding space. Like, I sure hope I did the right thing. If I can quit my job. Like, so Friday's like, oh God, I hope I did the right thing. Oh God, and just like Friday, just be like, no, we did. I love you. Yes, we did. This is the best of our hearts. So we want it. It's like, keep reminding yourself, nurturing yourself, do it for yourself. Don't expect others to do it because they're in their flux too, man. Don't bring anyone in this. You're the creator of your world. So you don't need anyone else for this process. This is like Jesus in the desert, 40 days. And then on Saturday, now elevates to step 20. This is where it gets really scary for a minute because all the feelings and the consequences of the feelings now come up to the surface. So 20 from on to 29 is the emotional consequences of your decision and what you're going to do with those consequences, right? So consequences, oh no, there's no one to keep me up at night, keep me company. So what are you going to do? So you're out that person to baby you. What it definitely is the end of codependence. So a lot of people who are codependent will be cut off at that point. So there's a lot of codependence that'll be cut off. Now this will raise the level of tension in the country significantly. Okay, significantly. So I think the United States is up for a lot of tension, really tense. It starts to get like head splitting for some because it's not really about the politics, but the politics explain how they feel, or at least fits in, because it is an echo of how you feel, but not really tied to you. And so it just sort of like I recommend really a radio sign. I had to listen. My guys are like, start listening to the news. We need you to, quote. I'm like, oh, shit, okay. What's going on? They're like, and everybody's finding out. I'm like, fuck, I had no idea. But I'll just tell you, I would tune out if I were everyone. It's like, you just make it harder. It's like having a kid screaming when the baby's trying to take it down. It's like, you don't need it right now. It doesn't matter. You don't need it like in Virgo. So in Leo, there's a huge change of heart because once you free yourself from your own slavery, you allow these things to happen. You allow yourself to feel this way. And it's all your fault because you're the creator, by the way. So don't blame anyone else. Like you let yourself sit there in the dirty diaper and never change, and you let yourself get the rash. You let yourself. It's one of two ways: either you create your life or you don't. Which is it? So there's that split too. People just go farther down the victim line, right? Whereas other people go farther down the magic line. And Leo's very much about like sitting on a lonely. It's kind of like the image I get for Leo is you're sort of like on a lazy river in like a water park, and you're just like floating down the lazy river by yourself, feeling good, but not anything really happening. Leo's going to be very slow, because the universe is asking you, what do you really, really want? Because most people have not asked themselves that. What does my heart want? I mean, just ask yourself now if you're watching along. Put your left hand on your heart. Ask your heart, what does your heart wish for right now? If you don't get an answer, you're not very good talking to your heart. Like my heart's like to get up, to get off this show, to go have some food. Heart right away is just like wants out.
Go outside.
Yeah, yeah. My heart right away is like, get out of here. Can we end this quick? Like, shush, I told you we'll be okay. But if you don't get an answer right away, you're a little behind. If you ask a child, what do you wish for right now? Bubblegum, a child. Like they just start going down a list of shit. Like, because they're one with their heart. They haven't separated. And so they can just come forever. A roller coaster, a bug, like whatever. They just keep going down. If you can't get that list, then that's what August about. Is getting to the heart. And then Virgo, it's all these two. We have 2 new moons in Virgo. 2 new moons. 2. Okay. Lately, we've been having 2 full moons. Like every year, we have 2 moons in something, right? So it's either 2 full moons or 2 new moons. It's been mostly destructive. So we've been having mostly full moons double up in the year. But now we have 2 new moons. That means creation. And the 2 new moons are 0 Virgo and 29 Virgo. All of Virgo. So you have a new moon here and a new moon here. That means we're swapping out reality and putting in a new one. And so the engine of reality, the render engine of reality, which is Virgo, we get a new render engine in Virgo. That's pretty much, guys, I'm already going through this and I can't tell you, like, I started this way as a young man, and I'm back to where I started, if that makes sense. So I got a real glimpse of where it's going in my future, but my perception was I had it and lost it. But now my perception is, oh, I had it, my troubles hit, I forgot who he was. I went off on this weird detail, I went off on this weird, a detour, where like I basically learned all my past life shadow and all my shit, my heart stuff. And by the time I got to the end of that detour, I'd forgotten that that's who I am. And then suddenly now, recently, it's like, oh, I'm a jokester, I'm a comedian, I'm all these things that I haven't let myself be because I was letting the weight of my past, infect my present. So I'm curious how people end up, but like this is like winning the lottery. So I'm feeling inside, like the lottery.
Right. I mean, it can be like that for everybody as well. I mean,
This is
when
my
you are in alignment, that's what it feels like.
It's really amazing. Yeah, and it feels great. And it's tiring too because you burn a lot of energy when your heart's just getting everything it wants. Kind of, like that sounds maybe like bragging, but that's how it feels like. It's like you get every wish you ever wanted. You realize that you're meant to only get every wish you ever wanted. The only thing is the time. Sometimes it takes longer than others. So I think the big thing to look out for is the mind. A smartass doesn't know what it's talking about, and getting that under control.
Okay, so in regards to this week and the mind versus feelings versus the heart versus, w- like, what's the question, like you just said with the heart, but like, if people are like, well, I don't know what to let go of, like, how
Okay.
could you guide that? I mean, I am clearly finding examples where I can see that playing out in my life, but maybe somebody doesn't have something that is like a clear thing that they can let go of. So what do they do?
Anytime you hear your mind say no, you go, why? Okay, it's like, no, that can't happen. That'll never happen. Wait, wait, wait. Does my heart believe that'll never happen? Or does the world tell me that? Because if the world tells you that, then your mind has been brainwashed by the world. It's just hard to believe that it could be that magical and right under our feet. We didn't, the whole time we didn't know. It's like the realization that we could be so off and it's right there. But I think ultimately, what you want to do is what I call the 5-2-1 method. I've brought up before. Like if you have a question for yourself, give three parts of yourself the ability to answer. First, what does your mind think about it? And you might want to journal this or take a journal. There's so many like apps that dictate your stuff now. Just like dictating an app, let it all be written down for you and see what your mind thinks about it. Okay. Then after your mind has got it's like had its turn and it'll take too much time and it'll take up most of your time. It's the most selfish part of you is your mind. Just got to have more. You got to say more. Like me here dominating the show. And it's like, then after thoughts, you ask your feelings. Well, how do I feel about these things? And so the mind said this is impossible. You came from the wrong home. I don't feel that's true. Mine says you're too old for this to start, and you're too fat. I don't feel that's true either. So you'll see that your feelings disagree with most of what your mind says. Most you'll see it's like fuck. Like we only got a couple here that they agree on. Okay, remember United States of awareness. We want to be united in our awareness. So we got our thoughts and our feelings disagreeing. Well, who's right? Who's right if my thoughts and feelings disagree? Which one? The answer is after you ask your feelings, then you ask your heart. You go, heart, which one of these do you wish for? Because the one you wish for is who you are. Okay, so I wish it was this way, then that's who you are. So you're telling me you wish it was this way, and the rest of you telling you can't have it. That's who you are. The rest of you telling you can't be who you are. So they're telling you. The rest of you telling you that's not. If you want to be a cannibal, well, you got a place you belong. It's like South Africa. There's people that do that. You can eat people all you want. Like there's a place for that. God has created a place for everything. So it's not about you being wrong. It's about you being in the wrong place and you letting your mind and your feelings overtalk your heart. And usually our feelings overtalk our heart because it's been in pain. Our feelings like, that hurt. Well, we were stupid, we were young, we didn't come with protection. That's avoidable. Most of the time things that felt bad, well, that's avoidable. Like you could avoid that with protection and boundaries. So ultimately, the way you get to the heart of the matter is you do the 5-2-1 method, thoughts, feelings, heart. And that adds to what? An 8, the decision, the good decision. So if you want to make a wise decision, 5-2-1. 5 plus 2 plus 1 makes 8. That's the step algorithm. 5-2-1-8.
Great. Yeah.
So do that, y'all. The monkey
Okay.
mind. Yes, totally true.
Anything else to add before we hop off here?
I don't feel so. I mean, I bet your kid wants to do something else.
No, I mean, I think that we went over really good stuff, and this week is
Totally.
very clear. It was like very clear description of this week.
Thank
And
you.
so, one more time with what you're launching, because it's happening right now. Let's plug
Yes, it's
that and then
happening at
we
the
go.
end of today. It is called the Intro to Step Astrology. These are 2 courses that move quite slowly. We only do 1 step a week. And it's live. This will be taped live with me, so you'll be able to interact with me as a teacher, which from this point on will not be available. So this is like history making because I think this is going to be the one course that I'll probably be most known for. Just because it's so basic and so revolutionary in what it says. And there's a lot of stuff in this course I have not told the public. I got a lot of Easter eggs in this baby that I've kept quiet because my guys told me to. So that's gonna be cool too. It's divided into 2 halves. And basically, if you start it and do the whole thing by Christmas, perfectly timed, you'll be in your power to do anything you want. You'll be in your power, 100%. Once you see this, how the way the world really works, and you give yourself the time to compare your life to the world, the step system to the world, you will be amazed. And by the way, I don't claim ownership of this. I claim guardianship. I'm going to give this to the world in my life and put it into a trust. It's not to be owned by anyone, but it will be protected by me. In that sense. So this is, I will gain, I'm sure, but we're not letting it fall in the wrong hands because it's so powerful. So when you feel right, when it feels right, come down and learn. The first, it's actually pretty affordable. I can't remember exactly the cost, but it's just over $200 for a person who's not Serious Joy, and just under $200, like $195 if you're a Serious Joy subscriber, $249 if you're not a Serious Joy subscriber. That's 7 weeks of courses, 2 courses a week plus tutoring and lab for $250. I
Super.
mean, that's so cheap. I mean, I'm going to help you for almost 6 months for like 500 if you take both courses. Like, it's really really affordable. It's designed to change the world, not get selfishly rich.
Yeah, yeah. Super affordable. Thank you, Chris, for doing that.
Thank you.
It's
Much love to you,
definitely
brother.
well needed. Uh, we'll see you next week. Bye bye, everybody. Thank you for the comments. Take care.
Congrats, Papa. Tell your wife congrats too.
Will
I
do.
love it. So happy for you guys. Ciao.
Thanks.